is where the lower up.
There we go.
Excellent. So let's paint the scene, shall we? About anywhere from a month to 3 months ago, there was an incident at View's church. Felix and View are part of the in but out mafia, as it were. They're part of the. Everyone says that they're Giovanni, but the more color struck amongst the kindred of the township don't see that as a real viability. They see them as, at best, step fetches. For all of their political power, View and Felix cannot possibly be Giovanni. They're not Italian, and that's the polite version of that argument. Both of them are darker and swarthier than any recognized Italian member of the Giovanni. I mean, the Hecata. After all, we know that it worked on the surface for the Setites becoming the ministry and allowing all those little silly toreador to join up and do their missionary work. But we, those in the know that shouldn't be able to work twice, but it seemingly is. Everyone is under the impression that the Giovanni are not the Giovanni and that they are, in fact, the Hecata. But we know who called the shots after all, right? Right? So, 3 months ago, Lewis is in one of his favorite watering holes. And the reason why it's one of his favorite watering holes is because while money doesn't come easy, doesn't come with any just dropping out of the sky or people discovering pots of gold at the end of the rainbow, it is one of the more affluent spaces in the township. Close enough to the city that you can get there within an hour and a half drive. If you're smart enough to stay away from the expressway, you can get there sooner. But most people, you hop on 90, 94, you hop on the 57 and take that up and around, and Bob's your uncle, you're downtown before, the evening is completely over. Those that know simply just take Cottage Grove down or drive all the way over to Pulaski, take that down, drive over to Western, take that down into the city and avoid all the trouble, all of the headache, most of the traffic. And fools and idiots, of course, will take Highway 1 right down through all of the South Side blight. But sometimes it's not worth the effort. Sometimes it's not worth the hassle. Most times it's not. So we find ourselves at Lewis's favorite watering hole. The money comes relatively easy. There's a sucker born every minute, and this is the place to prove that axiom as true. Because everyone in the township works. And by work, it is a full-time job, a part-time job, a enterprise that is separate from that. It is the entrepreneurial capital of the Midwest and potentially of the United States. Everyone works. Everyone has a business or a program or are giving their services and trying to build something. There's not one adult of any note who doesn't have several side jobs, who doesn't have several businesses they may be involved with. It is literally the MLM capital of the Midwest and potentially of the entire contiguous United States. There's an MLM born every minute. So Lewis exploits those amongst other things because it's a good source of food, a good source of income. It is why working hard is a sucker's game. And the township, Dalton specifically, is very good at hard work. For years, they were the major exporter of bricks and building material. Hell, they were founded from a family that was involved in milling. So finding himself here, as one moment spins into the next. He is sitting at the bar with Dancer Dan. looking over the roof, looking over the marks in the making. It's not often that he gets a chance to associate or congregate with other kindred. His business typically keeps him beneath the radar and off of anybody's targeting vectors, doing just enough to get by, but never enough to really succeed, because the bigger you are, the more people will take a shot simply because you exist. So, Lou, I know I was supposed to get you that intelligence that you're asking for, but with all this shit with Albu and them playing on the roads and floating around, I've been a little busy. I've been able to attend to my own business, so you gotta forgive me and give me a few more weeks. I got a line on a couple of things that I know will interest you almost as much as what you asked about.
Hey, it's all good. You know, times are turbulent, and being what they are, I can't exactly demand more from a man than what he's capable of. Just, he kind of, you know, gives the physical posture of one applying impetus to something. Just make sure that it does come.
Come on. I never fail anybody. And, you know, with this new Permagen, this new head kick that we got, you know, Musan ain't exactly the easiest to let down. He's a nice enough guy, but I've seen him in action, and it's not something that I would wish anyone to be on the downside of. And, you know, nothing for nothing. If you're really trying to break into the funeral business racket, you're going to be stepping on a lot of toes, especially, you know, Albu and View and Felix. They ain't exactly the easiest to play with. None of them, neither one of them like to share.
Yeah, but that's the goal, isn't it? You know, get your chains on something, get your fingers wrapped around it, and not let anybody know that you got a grip on it until it's out of the pocket.
Yeah, I do wish you luck, but after everything that happened with all of those cats over there in Riverdale, and with the Senate being at best in pieces, and I hate to say this, but, and he lowers his voice and leans a little closer, they're fucking broken, and I don't know why Albu was left to pick up the pieces of anybody. I thought maybe, you know, Nicole's child, Dia, would have been the best bet, because, you know, she lets people be who they're going to be as long as you don't make too big of a mess. Albu holds things like the overgrown toddler with a soft little blade. He holds it and squeezes it so it doesn't get away, and the more that it squirms, the more he squeezes. Before you know it, you got a handful of feathers and no blade.
From the sounds of it, trying to keep hold of what he's got, he's going to end up killing us all. At least from the way that you're describing it.
Yeah, we should be so lucky. And squeezing it enough to get the juices flowing, and usually, just like when Jennifer made similar moves back in the day, everybody's going to roll over and capitulate. Everybody's going to, you know, go belly up and panting at the mouth. I don't think there's any real way to avoid what's coming. And I don't know about you, but I don't really see myself as the road type. I ain't gonna take to no camper and trucker and go driving around the country like the American outlaw.
That's a great way to die. It's a great way to die. Quick way, too. I'm very much with you on that. We got to figure out a way to get about and ensure that people like us make ourselves into the shadow around that spotlight. That's what I'm gonna say. If waves are coming, I don't want to get swept under them.
Yeah, I don't see that as being much of an option otherwise. I think I got it in, but I can't be too sure. She didn't let me spend a little time with her. Gia, that is.
Okay. Well, don't just leave the bait out there. Go ahead and give me what it is you're willing to spend.
I don't know if I should be sharing somebody else's secrets.
Come on. You know, if I had something worthwhile to you, it'd be on here.
Yeah, there lies the thing. What exactly do you got that's worthwhile? I know where certain people lay their heads. You seem to be doing everything you can to make sure no one knows anything about you. So you're just gonna get swapped up like loose change.
True enough. Can't necessarily rebuke that, but I ain't necessarily without my values. I've got a few things, know a few people, know a few things. It all depends on what it is particularly you're looking for and what it is I might be able to help you obtain.
I'm looking for the reserve water system management plans. Remember a couple of years ago when Harold was the mayor of the city back before the second Bailey, back before, after Bain?
Yeah, I get what you're talking about.
The township set up a reserve water plan. They had these maps of various systems and groundwater that they built reservoirs and collection sites, safe places to store clean, potentially drinkable water with a little bit of a treatment that was free and off the grid of our normal interconnected water system that pulls from Lake Michigan, completely outside of the purview of the city. So, I got a question for you. On the equal trade with what you were asking for in regards to how to properly have a shelf company become certified in the funerary rites so that you could backdoor cremations and otherwise build the public even further. I got that. I may have overspoke and built up my inability to get that information for you. But
setting up, I understand that. Bait and hook and all that. It's a bit of a shame that you've decided to use that tactic on me, but I'm all here for it.
It wasn't completely untrue, but it's not completely true. Let's go with that. You get me this plan. You get somebody who actually can find the original document. So they change over the years, and most of it has not been uploaded to anybody's server. And the people that I've spoken with about it, having late night conversations such as this, tend to have either passed on or are not in the necessarily right mind to provide me the information that I need. Specifically in and around the Homewood area.
Okay. And in exchange, you'll give me what I asked for?
Yeah, of course. I got a couple of threads to pull. I've minimized them to just a few, so that one doesn't work and the other one would, and if the other one doesn't work, then at least the third one would. I haven't pulled those strings yet because, it's kind of like Google's EULA. Once you use it and you release all that information, you can't do it again.
Alright, I get it. But, if this is gonna be so far back that you gotta talk to people that's either batshit insane or talk to people that's already been dusted, it's gonna be rough. I mean, I can do it. Trust me, I can do it, but I'm gonna have to put my hands in some places I don't like putting my hands in.
I'm sure you put your hands in ways. And I'm sure that if anyone can do this, that it may be you. Like, no, with none of the none of the easy recognizable powers. You're not an agent of somebody else's will, if that makes sense. And by not being such a thing, you can go places that won't attract too much attention. I'm hoping that you won't attract too much attention. I attract no attention whatsoever. No one even fucking looks. And as a show of what he means by that, he drops his every man average seeming. No longer is he the slightly bleary-eyed cubicle gladiator in a rumpled button-up and loosely tied necktie. He is, in fact, the melted visage of himself in the moment, and his clothes are absolutely impeccable. Like, the dry cleaning on his shirt is still evident. It's pressed so neatly that it almost shines for a split second. If not for the horror, wreck, and ruin of his face, he looks like someone who was put into a microwave too long. He looks melted and soft in places where you shouldn't be melted and soft, and his hair growing in patches here and there. The only thing he has going for him is that his hair is in fact quite long. So it's easier to describe from behind. There's a small misshapen twist to the way that his rib cage sets, like it was formed in a 3D printer and not allowed to cool and set properly before someone tried to handle it. And as that slowly reveals itself to you, it's back to him being the average expected bleary-eyed after-work drinker who's having too much to drink. There's still the unsettling aspect of him, but he completely, once again, blends in with what you expect to find in a bar at this hour of the evening.
Just a very, as it apparates and then just as quickly de-apparates, whoa, come on, man, you know there's a thing against exposing yourself in public? Jesus, I feel like you just opened the trench coat on me.
Now you see what I mean. I can get places I probably shouldn't. But you were not connected, and being as I'm kind of sort of connected, because why weren't you there for the vote, and why weren't you there for the trial and the ascension of Senator White?
I was there in every way that mattered. I had people, I saw what happened, I knew what happened, but didn't need to physically be there. That's a great way to find somebody looking at your back. I had other things to do, places to be, people to see.
Yeah, I'm joshing you. I'm not gonna really give you too much shit about not being there. It was a clusterfuck. People with kindred were doing things that are beneath them and above them all at once. It was a moment in time, as they say. It was better to have seen it with you all night to see how bad things could have gotten. And also, it's a good thing you don't know how bad things have gotten.
Yeah, personally, I'm the type of individual that if it's a go there and see how bad it is, I ain't too interested in seeing how bad it is. If you can see something, it's close enough to see you.
There is that. And don't believe what you heard. All the police troubles downtown, that's not. Don't worry about that. It's handled. I believe it's handled.
I'm still going to step lightly.
You definitely should. I don't want to scare you, but this information was probably accidentally hidden, but there's a chance that it was purposely hidden. Of course, if it was purposely hidden, anyone who purposely hid it would have been coming after me already for snooping around, so you don't have much to worry about. I don't believe you have much to worry about.
And see, that's quite why I like being a forgettable face. Because if they was out here looking for you, I don't necessarily know if I would register too much to them.
Nah, what are you talking about? We're a spitting image of each other. I just wanted you to keep your head lower than usual while you do this thing for me, and I do this thing for you, and we shake hands as friends after it's all said and done. An exchange of services and goods where neither one of us are the John, nor neither one of us are the pimps. You know what I mean?
I mean, from the sounds of it, doing business with you is a great way to get myself in somebody's crosshairs.
Nah, I wouldn't do that to you on purpose.
On purpose?
Yeah, I never do that to you on purpose. You're a good guy. You stay off the radar, you stay low, and, well, you know, it's nice to have friends in low places every once in a while.
Alright.
But there's a part at the Biscuiteers, you probably should maybe put in an appearance sooner or later, whenever, whatever. Do what you need to do, but I gotta go, and I gotta tell them that I couldn't find anything, and you know how to get in contact with me, right? Yeah, okay.
And I'll make my pop-up sooner or later. I'll at least physically be there for a little bit. Don't know if I'm gonna be doing the whole song and dance.
No, dancing is a good way to stay young. And he gets up in 2 steps and begins moving away. We'll talk. You know, your people, my people, all that good stuff. I'll be around.
Yep, I imagine so. Just make sure you don't leave anything on your way. Kind of, begins looking around a bit more paranoid than usual since, my boy has been mentioning that he may very well be in somebody's fucking sights.
There is 100% that, but which version of him is in someone's sights is the question.
True enough. That's the fun part about having multiple yous that the public is aware of. You don't know which one's getting shot at.
So months pass, as they do, one day leading into the next, and one moment leading into invariably several others based on decisions. How serious of note would Lou put in the work to find this illustrious map? Because after all, waterworks is no one's real business. There's not much money to make in waterworks because most municipalities own the public water in their area outright. Even with the stranglehold Chicago has on the water rights up and down the Mississippi, and its interconnected spill chambers and various other works they have in place. Most local municipalities at least have the public right to sue and maintain their own waterways. This is the reason why in a lot of the suburbs you'll see the water towers. A lot of suburbs will have their own water reclamation centers and plants, and it's a city-involved thing. And each city, each village, each town is typically its own separate business when it comes to such things. So there's not much money to be had. There's not much leeway. There's not much graft publicly available there.
Yeah, so there are a few things that come into play here. One, he did mention that this is easier for me to do, being that I'm someone without strings. I'm someone without a lot of attention or a lot of memory and notoriety to my name. You know, I walk in a very dark place. And yeah, no, just generally gathering information without having people having information on you is, you know, a good way to go about it. But another way to look at that is poking around the specific subject might be something that if the higher powers knew you were doing, it might get you fucked. So there's that to take into account. But there's also as you said, it's not that valuable of information, at least from the surface level, and yet he's willing to trade what it is I am actively seeking for it. He's gone after it himself, at least a little bit. He's dipped his toes in the water and decided that, you know, it's a lot better to outsource the work. So there's certainly I need to get this information, but there's I need to survive getting this information. Not only just for getting it to him, but for I might end up taking a peek around there myself. Once the timing allows for it.
Okay. Sounds like a plan. So, offhandedly, there are 7 nights in a week, and that's 28, give or take. Yeah, give or take 28 nights. We just round that to an even 30.
Oh.
And would you be so kind as to roll your charisma? And are you going based off of luck, or are you going to try to follow the money? How would you try to tackle it? And of course, we know that you'd be using cutouts and proxies everywhere that you can. So you'll have the benefit and bonus. 1 second. Can you place on a pause?
What can I get you today?
Can I have the $6 biggie bag with a bacon double stack, no bacon, extra mayo?
Sorry, what sandwich for that biggie bag?
The bacon double stack, no bacon.
Alright, then I'll just do the $5 biggie bag with a regular double stack.
Oh, okay, that works too.
Then with extra mayo?
Yes.
Alright, what drink?
Coke Zero Vanilla.
Would you like to upgrade to medium or large?
Yeah, can you make the drink a large?
Regular size fry, large drink?
Yes.
And barbecue with the nuggets?
Ranch if you got it.
Ranch. Would you like a cookie for 99 cents?
No, but thank you.
Anything else today?
No, that'll be all. Thanks so much.
Thank you. 602.
Thanks so much. Worked up a powerful hunger, my friend. Good day. Drop my key. Thanks so much. Alright, sorry about that. I'm feeling a snack on the way home, and I know that I shouldn't, but I'm going to do it either way.
Gotcha. Okay, so this facility he's looking for, it was a what again? I know it's a water treatment plant, or is it a sewer system? Or what specifically is it?
It is one of the... It's part of the map of the water reclamation processing facilities. But it's one of those that was created during the water battles of the late 80s.
Okay, and is it still in service, or is it out of service?
That was a good question. He didn't say. He's looking for one of the original maps. The hard maps of the system, not the ones that are relatively publicly accessible via the internet and what have you.
Okay. All right.
So,
and this is attached to the area of Dalton?
yep, Thornton Township, near and around Homewood.
Near and around Homewood. Okay. If I can potentially going about the route of getting in contact with and disguising myself as effectively an EPA officer to check water quality and stuff like that, going under the guise of having detected contaminants in some of the other water treatment facilities, water reclamation facilities that were built around the time, around the similar time as that one. Try and get in contact with City Hall, see if they can give me a hard blueprint so I can go down there and check that facility, and see if it's got similar issues, or if there's something that we can find in common with the facilities that, say it's like a lead issue or something. and try and effectively finagle a hard copy out of the records.
Okay.
I know water treatment, water quality, and all that stuff that is handled by the Environmental Protective Agency. And if these reclamation centers are for, as far as I'm aware, for reclamation, making potable water, correct?
Yes.
Then that is a guise, if I am able to convincingly pull it off, would give me at the very least a reason for looking for these blueprints.
Okay. And how, stat-wise, is it something that he's trying to do favor over favor? Do you consider him, like, trying to work the machine, as it were? Because even though it's not in Chicago, and there is still a style of politics that is at play.
Yeah, let's go favor for favor. You know, talking to whatever administrator I get a hold of, very much like, hey, you know, you do this favor for me, you get me what I need to get, and maybe the next time that we find a bug or a problem, you know, we overlook it, at least until it becomes critical. You know, give you guys time to actually handle it rather than just dropping a fine on you.
Okay. So that's definitely a manipulation. So would you be so kind to go ahead and roll your manipulation and politics? The DC would be 4.
Okay. Why do I dice? Is this a rousable offense?
Yes.
Why do I keep clicking tab, I swear? That'll be 4 successes.
So surprisingly easy.
Hey man, there's a reason why I keep a to-go trunk full of random disguises like I'm a fucking 1980s cartoon character.
Surprisingly easy. And therein lies the problem. Yeah, of course, not a problem. And they get you into downtown, you know, Thornton's Municipal Center, which is located actually in Thornton, just at the border of Thorn Ridge. It's a small, squat building that looks nothing remotely municipal, unless, of course, you consider a penitentiary municipal. It has the same blocky, brutal-esque style as most penitentiaries that were built in and around that period. Which is funny, because while you initially think of Sing Sing and the Hoosgow and, you know, Brockway and all of those other prisons, most people, when looking at the building, would think of the schools as the same architectural sensibilities as most of the high schools and grade schools built around the same time. That same gray aggregate block, that same slit-like window, the same sense of foreboding. It seems professional, yes, but it also seems very much of a theme. Save this being slightly smaller, slightly more welcoming, because there's more green immediately viewable on the way in. But the similarities between the three, aren't lost on you.
Okay. Very much a soul-crushing building.
And to add injurious insult to the situation, as you move through the darkened space, the lights coming on as you and he walks down the halls, because the building is closed for the day. But the records of all of those plants and built around the same time are kept in one place. Storage. So you all go through and make your way into storage, and he turns on one light after the next. And these row upon row of industrial utility shelves filled with soggy, sagging boxes going back decades. Some held together literally by more tape than there is soggy, wet cardboard. Oh yeah, don't mind the smell. It's not really mildew. We checked the air quality. There's nothing floating in the air. But the old building where these were stored seemed to have been flooded due to the fire that took place there back in 92, 93.
He just gives a real soft chuckle and kind of fire in water, eh? That's quite the combo.
Yeah, it was some faulty wiring. You know, back in those days, there were some real cowboys. Because the building had been around since 25, 26.
19, I presume?
Yeah, thereabouts. Prohibition. As far as I can remember, it was one of the places where supposedly Capone had a safe or a stockpile. It was either Capone or one of the others, Frank Nitti, some famous gangster had a stockpile or a safe place hidden therein, and amateurs.
Cool. Yeah. Those buildings tied like that often got all kinds of neat little regulation-defying designs on them.
Yeah, and the building stood all the way up until, mid-late 80s when this program was kicked off. A lot of people forgot about it. In fact, our modern filtration system is built on the bones of it. So back during those days, they had to enter everything by hand on floppy disks. So they did what they could, copy them over, and put them online. We have them saved here in what do the IT boys call it? A dumb terminal. I don't know what makes it dumb, but they say it's pretty secure, and we want to do such things going forward.
Yeah, I know the type you're talking about. Anything that can't run, 150 programs at once is done to them. For me, I'm just happy if you can slap Zork on that thing and get it going.
Well, nobody really cares about it. You can't say the IT boys have been down here in a while either. And then you see the monstrosity that it is. It is literally a DOS-operated machine. It's not plugged into anything except for the power. There are a Rolodex of Plot 3.5 and actual full-fledged floppy disks to the right of it. They're not moist per se, but there are things growing on them because of the moisture in the air.
Okay. So, he kind of thumbs through it, noticing one of them a slightly more fungal than the rest, and the hope that's not it passes by him, and he's like, which of these am I looking for here?
All of them.
All of them.
There are 46 in total, 3.5 in actual floppy disks there.
And this is the entirety of the records for the building?
No. That's the entirety of the records for the map. It uses it's an AutoCAD before AutoCAD became automated system that's only on, and he points toward the machine that is humming and clicking along. Even though it's not connected to the internet, there's nothing that should be running on it. But because it's plugged into the power and no one has bothered to turn it off, it has literally been running since the moment they saved it from their previous location and brought it here.
All right.
And it's clicking and whizzing and banging inside as if there's several shifts of iron workers inside trying to bust out.
All right. Do you mind if I take these with me, or would you like me to just run them on this terminal here?
You can take them with you, but I don't think there's any system anywhere else that will have this program or be able to run those disks.
All right. Well, let's give it a shot. Hey, if it explodes, I was never here.
Oh yeah, no, don't worry about that. That sucker is older than both of us put together. All it takes is a couple of slaps to get it back acting right.
Yeah, you know, they say that about me every once in a while, so hopefully it's agreeable. And he'll just sit down and look at the thing in utter horror before quickly concealing it, and then the confusion starts to set in as he works his way about figuring out what the fuck a floppy disk is and how the fuck to use it.
And therein lies the absolute truth of the injurious injury. But what's his technology?
Absolutely nothing.
So, you have a puzzle, and all of the pieces are round. And the puzzle is of a gray brick wall. Where do you start?
Beautiful. I start by, hey, man, this is actually the first time that I've messed with, he holds up the floppy disk. These things, do you think you can get me started here?
Oh, yeah, it's easy. So, that little spot right there, that thin one, that's for these, and he points to the actual floppy disks, which are literally just basically microfiche for the system. Basically.
I thought that was just a seam between the panels. Okay.
The floppy disk hold information magnetically on the film inside of it.
Okay.
And the water and the moisture in the air wreaks havoc with a system such as that. Looking at the disk, you consider using the 3.5s, and that's another slot that is plugged in through these huge 4-inch wide wires that are tipped and plugged into one machine into another little smaller machine that reads the 3.5. It is definitely an aftermarket part for this particular computer. And then, as if things couldn't get much more depressingly worse, as he taps the key, it brings up a username and password.
I don't know anything about this. You?
Oh, yeah. You see that little piece of tape right there? The username's on the yellow one, and the password's on the red one. Can you do me a favor? I didn't bring my glasses. Could you read those off?
I assume these are utterly destroyed.
They, in fact, are smudged and bleary.
He just kind of looks at it, kind of bringing the floppy disk closer and farther back and closer, trying to get like a better look at it. Yeah, these look a little waterlogged to me, champ. Is there any other place that you guys may have kept this particular bit of information?
But this is really it.
Okay.
The water takes care of itself, man. Like, We have it checked and treated every 9-10 months, sometimes even twice a year. But realistically, no one's ever gotten sick from the water, and it's probably better if we really don't do too thorough of a testing of the water, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, no,
It's not like
I'm with you.
it's not like Michigan bad, but we add fluoride to the water for a reason.
No, trust me, I'm fully aware of this. There's all kinds of red tape back at home office. There's an entire section of files that are just labeled as "do not touch." But let's see if I can do something about this. And is the name on this floppy disk? Is it like once had been markered on, or is this like written on pen on paper then taped to the floppy disk?
Yep, written on pen, written on paper.
Okay, is there the potential to get like a graphite rubbing of this to get the indentions of the pen off of it?
Yes.
Okay, well that's what we're gonna attempt. We're gonna get like I'm gonna tear a chunk out of my notepad, set it on top of the name, and just very gently, very lightly try to get the indention imprinted in the graphene.
And I am home and need to get inside, so we will drop the scene there with Lou furiously working at the mystery behind why would anyone accidentally, let alone purposefully, hide the map of water facilities throughout Thornton Township.
Yeah, it's mysteriously easy to get access to the records, but these records seem to be quite fucking thoroughly sabotaged. If not by the hand of God, by somebody else very subtly working away at it. And it apparently being a building that by the words of this individual here was connected to the fucking gangs, the mystery deepens.
Yep. So without further ado, welcome to Thornton Township. We look forward to seeing how Lewis comports himself.
Yeah.
You want to tell Craig to go ahead, fuck off, and send that to me when you get a chance?
Will do, Cap.
What's up, lads?